And hello, and welcome to another scene set in the World of Darkness, rage across New York. As we set the scene some distance away from the lens, in, well, near the lake area of the Sept, where there is much fish to be had and eaten. And, well, Jacob, having just gotten up and been dealing with a grumpy Kumba, a very grumpy Kumba, like the slightly more lethal version of the grumpy cat meme, has gone over on a lake where he's gone fishing, looking for food. And we'll just have him make a roll. I mean, he catches all the fish. He catches a really big fish, actually. That's a pretty freaking big fish. Following through on the methods that Stoneclaw once taught him, he has definitely done well for himself in his wolf form. And as he walks back with a very, very large fish from this lake in hand, or teeth, jaws rather, he begins heading out over into a more sunlit area where he kind of lays down. Quite easy to spot, of course. He's a white wolf against the, well, verdant backdrop. And just seems to be lying there, tenderizing this fish. Very large fish, multiple fish, many fish.
Probably see Ayden lying in lupus in the sun. In a bowl, or trying to keep the heat on himself.
He kind of sees you running by. He's kind of just lolling around, eating the fish. Takes him a little bit. He doesn't really chase after you immediately or anything. Before you kind of hear him howl after he swallowed his fish. Ayden, come sit with me.
He'll come. So show his throat, show his belly.
Yeah, you'll get muzzled and nipped, and so you have permission to sit up.
When he has permission to sit up. Hey Jacob, so have you been busy lately? Haven't seen you around too much.
Taking a short break from the action. The blood veins had me not necessarily in recovery, but I felt the need to retrain, so to speak, keep my edge sharp, considering I'm going to be facing tougher threats from now on. How have you been doing?
We will. Yeah, alright, but yeah, I was stupid, got in trouble for it, and which is why I'm lupus most of the time, but I'm learning.
Good. That's a surprisingly effective way to understand the lupus condition in a lot of ways. How, so, what did you do?
I just needed a break and I went off Sept on my own. Nothing happened, but something could have happened, and yeah, I deserve the punishment I'm getting.
Yes. Yeah, going off on Sept on your own is bad, but you already know that. So they consigned you to lupus form for a while then?
A week. So, it was nearly a week ago, so maybe I still think. Tomorrow.
Well, you've done your time. What happened? What caused you to run away, per se? I'm sincerely hoping you didn't just decide to take a break because you wanted a holiday.
Just no, it's my life's been a mess since early on, and like I told you when we were fighting, I was brought up to fight and to not have much of a social life, except for the people I was brought up with. I was brought up to hunt down people and fight them, and I wanted a break from that. Once I thought I was going to get a break from that, here came the Guru Nation. And I thought I could cope with that, and then the nightmares came back, and I just couldn't take it. It was stupid, but I had a lot on my mind. I had a lot on my plate.
I see. I'm sorry to hear that you have such trouble sleeping. This isn't the best place for rebuilding one's mental strength. You definitely have a point there.
It's something I have to live with. And as much as there's a part of it I wish didn't happen, I'm still proud to be Guru, and I'm still proud to serve Gaia.
That's good. I'm sorry if this makes you somewhat uncomfortable, but these nightmares, what are they? How do they make you feel?
Just bad. It's a lot of guilt in them. Don't want to go too far into it.
Fair enough. I'm not here to psychoanalyze you.
Chloe and Ping were there to help me, so.
Okay, well, if anything was going to happen, they'd have it under wraps. No. So, what do you think of our friend Kumba?
I wonder how he became Keith. Like, as that man, but doesn't seem to know much more than us cubs.
You are not the first person to have asked that question. From what I hear, it was apparently kinfolk inducted into the Bone Gnawers. Now, there have been discussions regarding this because that is something of an unprecedented event. And it is not normal.
Seems weird that kinfolk can allow someone to be Keith.
Yes, and well, that is more up to the spirits than it is the kinfolk. The kinfolk would never, even among the Bone Gnawers, have the political clout to say this person's a Cleave. He seems to have met some aspects of Rat, and the Bone Gnawers do accept all. They accepted him as he was, which I can assure you any other tribe wouldn't, but that is supposedly what happened, and I have no idea how the kinfolk manage it, but Rat has supposedly accepted him.
Apparently it has. I mean, he is a full-fledged kind of member of the Bone Gnawers, so he's been accepted. Just needs to be seen why.
I would say he's a Cleave and of the appropriate station, but not fully fledged in any regard, honestly. From what I hear, from what he seemed to imply, he only learned about the history between the nation and the Wendigo recently, which is concerning. He didn't seem to speak of the spirits of any sort of favor, despite the fact that he is a Fjörge. And that very much concerns me, considering he is supposed to be the one that makes sure we respect the spirits. In a lot of ways, the Fierges are our priests, our clergy. But like all things, it's not a clean translation. But I've met spirits of the dead before, and human spirits actually. It concerns me to think that he does not care or seems to actively disrespect them because they are dead. Now, I know he said something along the lines of, it doesn't matter, his life is past, and that's literally what the spirit said, but I believe he may be misinterpreting his words out of bitterness of what the spirit did to him. I know he is currently keeping you at close hand because of what happened.
Yeah, then Mother asked us to work together. So we are. We try to work together to hunt and sometimes just to track. We are getting to eating. And I think he can learn. Not only from the time I spend with him, but he has a pack, and I think. Sorry, out of character, what's Tim's character's name again? Teresa. Because I trust Teresa. If she took him, it's for a reason.
From my perspective, Teresa looks like she's taking a leap of faith with Kumba. I think she's gambling on the notion that the Den Father will be able to set him straight, so that when the time comes for them to fight together, she'll be able to appropriately rely on him. It's a gamble worth taking. The Den Father and the Den Mother are good at what they do. Now, I must admit, I'm much more biased towards the Den Father. I believe him to be better at their job, but there is a reason. Falls is the Den Mother, and she does bring a much needed perspective. But it's good that there is a Homid and a Lupus Den parents. It's a good balance. That is not something I would expect to see in a city set like this. In fact, I expected it to be much more Homid dominant, considering we are surrounded by humans. But apparently I exist.
Yeah, I would have expected the same. We are in New York.
I know our Lupus kin live. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know our Lupus kin live off Sept in a forest somewhere. I don't interact with them too much. I have been to the forest, mainly for the purposes of hunting. I rarely run into our Lupus kin there, though. But it's good that they have a place where they are protected. There are a few of those places left now. And this Sept is not big enough to house Lupus territory. It's just too small.
It's a park, it's not a forest. It's not big enough to be a forest.
Yeah, the forest in this Sept is... It's a forest, but it's not much of one. It's certainly not big enough to house probably even a single wolf family.
Probably not. And he'll put back up. Oh, Chloe is teaching me. Right. Read the sun.
Yes, I need to begin learning more rites. Yes, minor rites are a good place to start. Easier to learn. I will actually be learning the rite of cleansing shortly, because you can never have enough people who know the rite of cleansing, and with my gifts, they actually mesh fairly well with such a rite. I can sense the worm in things, so the rite of cleansing is very useful for picking it off once I've found it.
Yeah, rite of cleansing is one that is definitely needed. I don't think you can ever have too much people that have rite of cleansing.
I will. Well, when I learn some more rites, I might be inclined to teach you some. Although right now I'm not really in a position to do so.
Understand.
I think for now I'm best at teaching, well, I'm a Philodox, I'm best at teaching our laws and basic combat training. Stoneclaw's still stronger. She is in her room. In fact, I'll go to Stoneclaw and Eric or Zashra for training in that regard. Both will put you through your paces, but in different ways.
It's good to go to to learn from everyone, I think.
There's a moment of hesitation. It seems to analyze that statement, as he just kind of nods and says, "Yes, that is the wise choice. Diversification breeds innovation." And you'll have a greater pool of knowledge to rely upon when you become a cliff. If you're isolated to only a few perspectives, and you won't be able to ascertain what you need to succeed. Yes. We live on the knife's edge, so whatever may increase our chances of success, so long as they are honourable in nature, is always worth the effort.
Sure.
If you ever wish to learn of spirits, I would suggest going to Ping Tori. They will grant you most likely very different perspectives, but both are highly valuable.
Ping has offered to help me learn with spirits, and I agree. I could also go to Tori. Learn from teachers will get you a broader understanding.
Yes, Katori might be slightly harder to approach, given the situation at the time, but hopefully the matter is settled. I shall be visiting to Katori just to make sure that is the case. I do not trust that I am being told the full story by Kumba. He has a habit of missing out important details, whether deliberately or not.
I have to talk to him some more. I haven't hanged around him too much.
He's a good person, but he has foot and mouth syndrome. His viewpoints are filtered through a very it's not even necessarily a human mindset, a very I would normally not use this word to describe the Bonora's perspective. In fact, I'm pretty sure many of them would take offense to the term, as many of them are not this. He is looking at it from a somewhat advantaged or even entitled, privileged, advantaged. I believe advantaged is the most correct term here. He's told me he's lived his life in relative peace up until the time of his first change. He was a farm boy. Lived his life happily. Didn't really have to focus too much on the problems of others, or even his own problems, up until recently, which has left him mentally challenged in that regard. Not to insult him, but he is obviously inexperienced in dealing with these situations. But because of the way he perceives things through that filter of blind idealism, it harms his ability to make attachments to others where he needs to. It has not helped him. It is certainly not helping him learn. Well, he's not learning the easy way. He's learning the hard way, because that is how our superiors feel that is the best way to teach him. Right now, I'm in agreement. It seems whether he intends to or not, he keeps saying the wrong things at the wrong time. And he needs to learn that, well, not to do that. He could stand to listen more than he talks. There will be a time when he must speak. And if he speaks the way he does now, he will fail.
His mouth is faster than his brain, I think. He doesn't always think about what he says.
It's big. Larger than my Kronos jawline.
Gorilla, his arm and mouth is probably even bigger than Strong Claw's straw.
He does appear physically strong. I'm surprised he's a Fierge, especially considering he's disrespectful to certain spirits, but then again, I suppose every Fierge has their preferences. No doubt that certain spirits will want nothing to do with pain, and certain spirits will want nothing to do with Katori, and vice versa. But still, there still must be a measure of respect. These are beings that we fight for in many ways. I do have certain questions as to their methodologies, but that is not for me to dictate to them.
If he keeps going this way, I think maybe not many spirits will want to deal with him if he keeps insulting them.
Some spirits will deal with him. He still is favored by spirits of nature. He's still a full of rat. They can teach him things, but he's burning bridges as he tries to build them. I think that is why it is so frustrating to watch him, because he is obviously trying. He is just failing in the worst manner possible. He is trying in such a way that it is counterproductive to his own goals. Of course, he doesn't really understand this until he takes a claw to the face, or is tied up in tentacles and pissed on. It is unfortunate he has such stark revelations so often, but at this point, well, I've already talked about how we believe that to be necessary. If the Den parents and Katori were not doing it, I probably would be myself. I've not done so yet because they're doing it for me. And there needs to be some degree of balance. He needs to be knocked down, but then sometimes, well, at the aftermath, there will need to be someone to pick it up to help translate the harsher parts of the lesson that he may feel embittered over.
Yeah. Well, should learn in time, but it's too.
He still understands nothing of this. Oh, sorry.
I'd like to think he'd learn in time, but right now it's not working. I think he might need help. We're giving him as much help as we can, but I'm not sure. Should have.
We're trying all angles. Either way, Teresa will drag him to victory whether he learns or not, and if Teresa can't drag him to victory, I will. Hopefully by then he's learned to walk. I feel like granting him clear status was like giving a gun to a toddler.
Surprisingly, some people do this thing.
Pardon?
He'll say, which surprisingly some people do in this country.
Yes, I'm a police officer. I'm not a fan of giving weapons to children. It results in a lot of unnecessary fatalities.
Definitely.
It's a human political thing, but the same applies to us in our criminal form. You turn a child into a giant werewolf, and you should expect problems. Thing is, he's not a child, he's just naive.
Oh, just a sec. Dog is on the other side of the fence. I'll be right back.
Oh, no problem. Jacob will begin lounging around again. As his hands just very, very calm. Rolling around. He muzzles Ayden a little. It's quite comfortable around him. Maybe it's because he's a hobbit, but not really. Maybe it's just because he's an outlet for Jacob's own thoughts. A good listener. A trait, perhaps, Jacob could learn from. Something Jacob is slowly acquiring, but still has not stopped learning. Process he's still in the midst of doing. Yeah. Jacob is currently lounging around and kind of muzzling you. He's sniffing a little bit, kind of like, oh, what have you been doing? Where have you been today? I want to know everything about your life. Who are your friends? What kind of sense would he pick off Ayden? Who's he been with?
He's been with Chloe. He probably smells kinfolk on him.
Okay.
And that, and probably just probably he smells like rabbit and stuff on him because he hunts pretty much every day. So, yeah.
Jacob takes a place in the sun. It's still warm. It's cold, of course. It's winter, but it's still warm in direct sunlight. It never really isn't. You can still feel that. He just kind of growls, almost like almost yaps slowly, and just kind of flops. Taking in the sunlight, drying off. He appears to be quite calm, quite relaxed. He seems to be enjoying this greatly, actually. He seems to
Ayden
ruffle on grass a little bit.
Ayden will actually he'll lie in a bowl to really take up the sun. And he'll say, I think when I have to take a pack, when I have to, well, whether a pack chooses me or I choose a pack, the one I would like to join would probably be, if you think, well, there's yours, because there's Chloe and Ping in it, and I have, I shall think, I don't know, especially Chloe, we've talked, and she just understands me, but your pack is kind of full, and the Shadow Lords are there, and if I join them, well, one, I could help Teresa.
Shadow Runners, Shadow Lords are a tribe.
No, Shadow Runners. My bad. But I could help Teresa with Kumba, and I've fought alongside Kumba, Teresa, and Victor, and there are three people I would be proud to have alongside me. I've actually fought quite a few times with Teresa by my side.
Both packs, I think, would suit you well, although I would like to get to know you a bit better if I wanted to talk to you about joining a pack. But it's good that you're thinking about it. It is important to look to the future with such things. Guru alone can only do so much, and it is how to put it. It's quite to have a family and run a nation.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So often we are at each other's throats. It is warming to know that there are those out there among the nation that are Guru that you can absolutely rely on all the time. It is a rare thing in the world. Perhaps once it was more common, or perhaps I'm simply looking into the past with rose-tinted glasses. But I'd like to think that perhaps those were simpler times, and the Guru were more united, closer to each other than they are now. I hope it can be that way again.
It's certainly something that I like to think through. The children of Gaia seem very focused on that, trying to be united as their nation.
Idealists one and all. I greatly respect them and admire their goals. But they still need a guiding hand to put them down the right path, to show them that there is a time to fight, and sometimes one has to put their ideals aside to do the right thing. Because that's the thing with ideals. Idealists always think they're doing the right thing, but it can so easily go wrong if you're not careful. Part of the reason I joined the Silver Fangs was because I believed I could do the most good with them, and that they were the most honourable and noble of the tribes. And that I would be part of that, because I also wish to be the most honourable and noble among all Guru. This isn't to disparage other tribes, of course. Children of Gaia I believe to be immensely compassionate and have many great ideas. I get along with them well.
All tribes, I think, have a big part to play.
Yes. I believe the reason I did not join the Children of Gaia is perhaps because I had more reason to do so as a full thing. I simply had more encouragement, and part of it was out of a respect for my lineage. So it was perhaps part of my responsibility. There's also the other part of it, and that ultimately, if I am to unite, I must lead. And the Children of Gaia, they are mediators, but they are not leaders. I'm sure there are capable leaders among them. The sort of things are the leaders, they are the alphas. And I would happily challenge anyone who would challenge that assertion. That is their role among the nation, after all. It is literally a divine mandate. That is something people forget. For example, Fianna, the guardians of Guru culture. It's why they spawn so many talented Galliards. That is not something that is challenged, because it is literally, in many ways, their divine right. They are not more or lesser for it, they simply are. Now, the tactics they adopt to achieve these ideals, these goals, those could be criticized, and those do make them more or lesser. Same for any tribe, of course. I'm just using the Fianna as an example. The Glasswalk is a very good example of this. They have paid a high price for their tactics, but it is also has achieved their goals in many ways. Their role among the nation. So while one could criticize their methods, one can't criticize what they were created to do. That is, well, I suppose to put it in the blandest terms, it would be heresy. Or rather, the bluntest terms, sorry. Because you would literally be challenging the will of the will of Gaia. This is what she has willed, and so it is. Of course, one can choose their tribe. You get to choose your role. But once you're in that tribe, that is your role, much like your auspice. Although the tribes are much more political, of course. Auspices are more cut and dry. They are more, in many ways, streamlined. The tribes are as much political as they are, in part, religious parts of the nation. I guess you could say auspices are the divine aspect, the tribes are the political, but the tribes still carry a mandate of a sort, a purpose. It is just more flexible. For example, even though the Fiannas are in many ways, as I said, the guardians of Guru culture, they're also much more than that, and they don't have to be that, they can be other things as well. Their roles are malleable. Not entirely. But there are many places for a guru among each tribe. Auspice plays some level of influence into this, of course. A Silver Fang Philodox is not going to be the same kind of leader that a Silver Fang Arun is. They're not the same individual. I guess to use my own tribe as an example, think about how many ways there are to lead. Then think about how many more ways there are that you don't actually know about. I could lead from the front or the back, or I could lead all the way from behind that curtain over there. Much like a Shadow Lord, I could be a puppeteer. Then the layer that separates our two tribes becomes thinner, but it is still there. But that's what I mean when I say malleable. Sometimes the divisions that keep the tribes independent of one another are very thin and difficult to distinguish. For example, Mother Larissa is the alpha of the Sept, but the Silfangs are the alphas of the nations. Why not? Why do they not lead? But then it obviously comes down to the fact that Mother Larissa is the highest ranking member of this Sept and is by far the most talented, or the strongest as of right now. There might be a more talented individual heading straight this way, but of course we don't know that. But there are many ways to lead without being the official leader. There are many ways to achieve the optimal outcome, to be the guiding hand that helps the nation, to bring everyone together. And in many ways, that makes us all similar to the children of Gaia. And our divisions become thinner again. I have complicated things greatly for you. I suppose what I mean to say is that think about what you want to do among the nation that is not just your auspice. And then see how you fit into the culture of that tribe, how you fit into its role, its dynamic, and then make a decision for yourself. Don't make a decision based on a broad stereotype. Silverfangs are not all brute force, proud, arrogant runes who are going to be charging into the fray, snapping orders at every single individual. Same way Fiona is not going to be a wholesome, a jolly family man.
No, I mean, if I join the tribe of Gaia as much as I like the Garou Nation to try and lead as one, I also know when it's time for a fight and when it's time to kill your enemies.
From what I've seen, most children of Gaia do. Too many of them, of course, but the ones I've met seems to be fairly obvious to them when they need to fight. We are still creatures with rage, after all.
We are. Why the children of Gaia are so maybe not fascinating, but interesting.
Yes. Like many, the children of Gaia are a diverse lot. I believe they're the second most numerous tribe, if I recall correctly. So you're going to be dealing with a diverse lot of individuals. Some tribes are more traditional, which means you might fit in more easily with those tribes if your identity is closer to theirs, because you won't run into so much friction. Of course, that can close you off to other points of view, but it may be worth seeking out these cultures and their cultural outcasts, the ones who are part of a tribe but don't necessarily fit into the traditional dynamic of each tribe. A Charter guy who has less interest in peace and just wants everyone to wage war on the worm, who's not necessarily interested in the more charitable and the compassionate aspects. It is more focused on the main objective, the main goal, who is less idealistic and much more pragmatic. Perhaps has a darker view of things. I've yet to meet such an individual, but it most certainly exists, no doubt.
Well, just a sec. I'll have to go again. Just a sec. I'll be right back.
No problem. Jacob, in the meantime, we'll continue lecturing on different tribes. Da-na-na, 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 da-na-na,
I'm back.
da-na-na. Hello. Yes. Jacob basically lecturing on the perspectives of other tribes before kind of stopping after he finishes and just says, if there was something I'll suggest to you, how close are you to becoming a cliff, would you say?
I think probably a little bit past halfway.
So you're beginning to get fairly close. And it's good you're thinking about this now. Your sense of timing is, I'd say, impeccable. I don't mean that as a joke. You seem to be able to grasp what's coming for you and attack it clearly. That's a good trait. I would say think about what tribes on the surface you would be most interested in joining. Narrow it down. Of course, there are some tribes you just can't join. I don't smell any Silverfang on you, so unless by some act of guy you turn out to have indelible Silverfang lineage, you're not going to be able to join my tribe, the same as you're not going to be able to join the Red Talons, obviously.
No, Silverfangs are out. Wendigo are out. Red Talons are out. And I don't think. But yeah. And Black Furies are out.
Yes. Does make your job slightly easier because it narrows down your choices for you. But I would suggest thinking about it, narrowing it down to perhaps 3 or 4 tribes. Then visit a person from that tribe. For example, Viktena, Katori, or Child of God. I'd suggest seeking out Lucas.
I've got it down to either the Children of Gaia or the Fianna, or maybe the Sonic Striders, but there aren't many Sonic Striders around. No, not Sonic Striders, Stargazers, but I don't think there are many Stargazers around.
Stargazers. Stargaze. Wait, no, I have a pack mate who's a Stargazer. I can, yes, I can. If you want to meet her, then I will contact her and perhaps we can set up a meeting. I myself have known a few Stargazers. There is also Deshi, of course, Stargazer Arun. I can't remember what pack he was a part of. Whispers of Green, maybe? I'm not sure if he had a pack, but I believe he does. I believe he is part of the Den Father's pack. Don't quote me on that, I'm not entirely sure. I've never asked him.
We'll look into it, but yes, a meeting with your packmate would be. I would be very grateful if you could set one up.
Bites the worm's spine. She's a cliff. Lupus Cliff. Just so you know who she is.
Very well. Out of character, I need to go, so I'll.
No problem.
Stretch.
On that, I think he will say, anyway, you've got your 3 tribes. Ask as many questions as you can. Of course, don't have foot and mouth syndrome like Kumba. Learn from your cub mates' mistakes so that you don't have to make them yourself. But don't be afraid to ask hard questions that might challenge their perspective. The way those questions are answered are probably the most important and will decide whether you're going to join that tribe or not. Because if you have...
It's not what you ask, it's how you ask it.
And if you have issues with a certain tribe's perspective and it's not answered in a way that you can understand, or one that perhaps you simply don't agree with, and you can't see yourself reconciling with that disagreement, then that will probably prove that that is simply not the tribe for you. And that is why those are very important questions. But as I said, make sure to ask questions carefully. If I happen to be around, I'll join in this conversation just to make sure nothing goes down. But Bites the Worm's Spine, also called Kailani, by the way. She is, well, she's quite benevolent, so, and I trust her greatly. So, you seem to have got a handle on things, which is good. And, well, there's not much I can advise you on other than say, do what you are doing now. Learn your lessons, learn your learn the lessons of your cubmates' mistakes. And don't be afraid to ask tough questions. Just make sure you don't pull a Kumba.
He'll laugh. And stretch. Well, I thank you for your advice, and I will look forward to meeting your tribe, your packmate. And he'll look and goes, I'll try to find Kumba again. We need to work together again as a team.
Keep an eye on him at this point. I think you're babysitting him more than he is you.
Maybe that's why Ayden mother put us together. He'll laugh. And with that, he'll start. I'll take a few steps back and then run off.
Jacob will stretch out and be on his way. He smells ice cream. He smells Ping's ice cream, and he must have it. And that is where we shall end this scene, with Jacob gleefully running off to steal Ping's ice cream. Thank you, Claire, for playing. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. And that bastard leave before I could end. Wow, what a dick, guys. Burn him. Point and burn him. Wow. Wow. So bad. So troll.